Today I am talking about The Ultimate 48-Hour Author by Natasa Denman. And this is a self-help guide for publishing, but it's very non-fiction based and very business based. So that's something to bear in mind. But there's some good stuff in here. I did the Ultimate 48-Hour workshop. They did a free workshop last year, actually. I think it was around November last year. And because I was going to ghostwrite a story for a friend of mine, and that's sort of been pinned. That's neither here nor there. That's definitely on pause. So I went there because I hadn't, I write for a community newspaper in my day job, so I have that non-fiction writing, but I just thought, it was a free workshop, so I went down and checked it out, and because I thought it'd help me and my friend, and it was talking, it's very around publishing and all that. So I thought, yeah, this will be good. It will help us. I wanted to take my friend with me, but she couldn't come, so that was okay. She was working, and again, unfortunately, that project's on pause. Hopefully, one day we'll get to revisit it, but that's sort of up to my friend. But Natasa Denman and her team. Now, it was a big trip. It was a big trip down to suburbs of Melbourne. I live in country Victoria, Australia, and suburbs of Melbourne. But for some of the stuff she gave me, a lot of it's not applicable to me as a fiction writer. And a lot of it, again, would not say it's applicable to other fiction writers. Saying that, there are tips and stuff in this book, and it is filled with tips and charts and stuff you actually to fill out and do, that a lot of people will find interesting, find useful, whether they're fiction writing or non-fiction writing. But it is very non-fiction centric, and that's their bread and butter, and it's definitely around a business. They do biographies and stuff like that, and they will help fiction writers too. They said that, but it's not their wheelhouse. It's not their bread and butter. The non-fiction is, and it is business centric. I got to stress that point. They use Natasa and her team. It's a family team, and they are amazing. If you get a chance to go do her talk and that, worth it. Definitely worth joining, getting some tips. And 5 hours, we'd say, it was about 2.5 down, 2.5 back. I got some tips that were definitely worth it, particularly in recording your manuscript, which I've tried that for my writing, but it's not good. But for my day job, I'm recording press conferences, I'm recording interviews and stuff all the time, and the way the app I was using, I wasn't using it to its full capacity, which is the Otter app. And basically they used the same app and told me some tips with it, which made my day job a lot easier. So basically that 5 hours was worth it for that. For that one little snippet was 100% worth it. Recording your own interviews, and I talked about this in one of my podcasts, in one of my author talks. I can't remember if it was in the talk or after the talk. I can't remember if we were recording or not. It's something I tried for short stories and that. It's not something I think I need to type. That's how I get my brain functioning better, as opposed to speaking out. Because if you watched any of these, I sort of tend to ramble and that. So to speak out a story, I sort of get a bit self-conscious about it. But in typing, when I'm in push myself into the rhythm, then I just zone in and I'm good. So, but there's tips like that on recording. Very much to do that sort of stuff. I think you very much need to be a plotter than a pantser. So you know what you want to do, what you want to say, and that's what when you're thinking business model, you're thinking about you're selling a product, which again, that's what they use this for, and what they, that's Natasa and her teams, the function is, and that's their base market, is you're creating a book as a business card on steroids. You know, it legitimizes your expertise in that, and that's what they sell big time in this. And it's sell. It's, you know, it's self-help. It's sell. And they're very good at it. You know, over 500 authors published. That number would be blown out of the water now, I think. You know, because I think it was already a little bit dated when I bought the book a year ago, and you know. So what they do is they've created a network of their people they've published, and you know, and it started. She talks about all the mistakes, all the things she did wrong, and that's why it's worth going to a course, even if you're fiction writing, just to hear, you know, different people's writing experience and stuff like that. She pulls a lot of myths and BS about publishing. She's very gritty, and she learnt the hard way. So, and she tells you that the hard way and the mistakes she made, and now they've tried to streamline it into a business to make it effective for anyone that does sign up and do one of their packages, their self-publishing packages. So they're sort of in the middle. There's traditional published, self-published, doing it on your own, and then there's them in there. And for someone that signs up to their package and that there's a credible network they have, over 500 authors worldwide. They've done stuff overseas and that, and Australia too. And yeah, so there's a lot of merit in this. A lot of what they do is really a lot of really good advice. It's not going to suit everyone, and the selling point and using it as a book as a business moniker, business, you know, a selling point, that business card on steroids, isn't going to suit everyone. But they do biographies and stuff too. So, and that's sort of why I went down there, to, you know, to help a friend write their biography, their life story. So yeah, I would recommend it, and the book's worth reading, and fiction writers will pick stuff up out of this. But if you understand what you're actually reading and signing up to if you go to the thing, that's business centric, it's non-fiction focused, yeah, it's still worth it. It's definitely worth checking out. The Ultimate 48 Hour Author, Natasa Denman. And if you are a small, you know, wanting to do some self-publishing, these guys they got a pattern and a plan. That's small books though. You know, this is a small book. So if you're a, you know, indie trying to do some fiction, they'll help you. But then, you know, a lot of indies, a lot of fantasy particularly, but they do, you know, they would do crime, I'm sure, and all that, you know, romance, everything else, you know, tend to be bigger books. So be mindful of that. You know, they like to do things smaller. Again, they will help you do anything. They were very, very open about that, and really good, like really good people. Natasha's husband and that, you know, I had some really big chats with him and stuff like that. They were fantastic, but they are selling a product. They know their product, and they're good at selling their product. They're good at delivering on their product, is from what I've seen. You know, so understand what it is you're getting into reading the book or going to the workshop. But if you're interested in looking to do that indie publishing with a guide, these guys are worth checking out. 100% worth checking out. And the book, again, like I said, business centric, selling a product, but there's still tips for everyone in it. And there's, you know, a lot of workshop, a lot of thing, and being part of the network, I think is worthwhile, because, you know, connecting, creating networks, readers, fan base, all that. If you can, you know, joining groups and things like that, it makes it a lot harder, because, you know, traditional publishing, alright, so they've got the publishing house, but still a lot of the writers are then doing a lot on their own. Indie magnifies that, doing it alone. So finding allies, finding communities, finding people to help champion you, and that is worth its weight in gold, and they certainly do that for their people that have signed up for their 500 or plus authors. Well plus now, I'd imagine. So yeah, that's the Ultimate 48 Hour Author. It's definitely an interesting book. Definitely worth reading. If you're writing, you know, if you're not writing, probably don't read it. You're just a reader. Don't, you know. But yeah, one worth checking out. You know, if you want really on craft in fiction and things like that, Save the Cat, Stephen King, Fiona McIntosh, just to name a few off the top of my head, but there's plenty of self-help on craft. But this is publishing in the end once you've got your stuff, but there is writing tips in here too. Worth checking out. Happy reading. Subscribe and follow for